All right, everyone, welcome back to Life Unchained. Today's episode is kind of spur of the moment. I have this list of statistics of the average American and just wanted to share it, riff on it, and just give my takes on it. So I'm just going to start right away. These are some stats that I've found. Some of them are observations from myself of just being in the world and talking to people and seeing the norms, and other are specific numbers that have been studied and spouted out. So here's the list. We're going to go into it. So this is the average American. The average American is working a job that they hate. They're divorced. They have less than $1,000 in the bank. They watch 33 hours of TV per week. They have over 6 figures in debt, 2 hours a day on social media, 11 alcoholic drinks a week, exercises 17 minutes a day, makes $48,000 a year, doesn't invest in mentors and themselves, spends $69 a day. They're unhappy, they're unfulfilled. They don't share their emotions. That's more so on the male side. They consume seed oils. They pay 30% in taxes, maybe more on earned income, and then more taxes on things to buy, things we own, etc. They follow the conventional model of health, which is symptom focused, and that's the list that I've come up with. So there's a lot of things on there that were pretty shocking. 17 minutes a day. That's actually more than I thought, to be honest. Like, that's not considering that 40% of Americans are obese, I was expecting that to be lower. But a lot of these other ones are pretty bad. 6 figures in debt, like that fucking sucks. 33 hours of TV a week. That's a lot. Especially if you're someone who is unfulfilled at your job and looking to make transition, 33 hours could be spent elsewhere. Now, I'm not saying all of that 33 is wasted. I understand. I watch Netflix too. I enjoy a good TV show. But if you're in this state, if any of these are resonating with you and you're spending 33 hours watching TV per week, probably if you're watching this, you don't fall into this, but there might be some that you resonate with. But getting back to the 33 hours, if you are in a spot where you do not like and you are wasting 33 hours a week, that is a red flag. You need to look into that and reallocate those resources in order to move forward to a place that you do want. So let's take, if you're overweight and you're watching 33 hours of TV per week, just cut back like 3 of those. An hour at the gym 3 times a week, and you're doing way better. Like crazy. It's not as hard if you're in this state. Like, it's sometimes as simple as just reallocating 3 hours elsewhere. Taking 2 hours on social media a day. The stuff that you could do, like when I'm really focused and really dialed in, what I can do in 2 hours is pretty good. And then there are people that could do exponentially even more than that. I have a mentor who he'll do two hours of deep work, and that'll create maybe 7 figures for his business. But no, you're wasting it on social media. And you wonder why you might be in a situation that is similar to this average life. So let's go to working a job you hate. So this is one that I'm really passionate about because it is directly tied with my story. I used to work as an engineer. If you've listened to the story episode, go back and listen to that. I go through all of it in great detail so you can really understand like where I come from and my background. But that was me. That was my life for several years of clocking in at a job that I hated, doing work that was in direct conflict with my values. And therefore, there's a lot of downstream effects of that mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like feeling depressed, feeling like I didn't have purpose, which for a man is very important. I was just lost. I was a boy just caught in the wave of the world or whatever. Like, it was not a good place. And so I just see this a lot of just working a job because it's a paycheck and it's a good job and you've got benefits and all that stuff, but at what cost? Like, I really want you to think about this. If you're in this situation, at what cost? Like, you're getting paid a salary to work this job, but what is the cost mentally, spiritually, emotionally as a man every day when you go in there? It's something to think about. I couldn't handle it. It took me 3 years, maybe less than 3 years, to just be absolutely fed up and quit my job and start on this path. Go listen to the story episode. Let's go down here. Doesn't invest in mentors. That's a big one. That's definitely something that's completely changed my life. I would not be in the situation that I am in today if I did not hire my first mentor or any of the others. I've hired bad mentors, which haven't worked out, but it's a learning experience. But yeah, if I didn't hire my first mentor, I would possibly still be in that deep, dark hole. Maybe not even here anymore, which is dark to say, but scary to think about, but possibility. Yeah. And I mean, that just illustrates the importance of it. It was able to really show me what is possible and inspire me, and then allow me to have the practical understanding, tangible things to do to move forward. Consuming seed oils, that's just, if you're here, you probably don't consume seed oils, but if you do, you need to stop that. They're not good for you. Paying 30% of taxes on earned income and then more taxes on things to buy, things we own. That's a fun one. That's not my specialty, but if you think about that, that adds up. Like maybe 40, 50%, half of your money is just already going to the government. Something to think about there as well. Yeah. So let's continue. How these kind of relate to people in general. Like obviously 17 minutes a day of exercise is probably not going to define exercise, right? Maybe it's just walking from like your car to your job. So that is a question to ask, but we'll dive into some of how some of this average presents. Like if we're talking about average physique, average health, most people are overweight. And so what are the associated pains that come with that? Yeah. So what are the associated pains that come with this, with being overweight? So confidence is a big one, lowered confidence. You don't take the risk required for a good life. You're second guessing yourself, which leads to low self-esteem, which just leads to you being stuck in the same spot that you've been in. Lowered energy is a big one. You don't have capacity to do more, be present for your loved ones. Being tired is almost worn as a badge of honor, similar to being busy. This is an interesting thing that I've noticed. And I actually haven't been exposed to it in a while, which is interesting. But like through college and high school, everyone would always be like, "Oh, I'm so tired." And that was almost like, maybe it was just how to relate and have conversation, but it was almost worn like a badge of honor. Like you were tired because you were studying or working hard or just like out partying. And therefore that low energy state was like almost like desired, weirdly. I don't know if this is making sense. Maybe this is just something that I've noticed that no one else resonates with. I just thought it was interesting. But it's like that grind culture too. It's like always being tired, always having low energy. It's not it. Low physical capability comes with this. So like in emergency situations, you're weak. You can't do everyday tasks as easy as you can. And that bleeds into the confidence, that bleeds into everything. Like, I think this is extremely important to have the capability to be able, if something happens, to be able to hold your own, to be able to protect, do whatever, protect yourself, protect others, anything. Like, especially in this day and age, it's getting wild out here. And we're getting real here. So like, this might trigger some people, but a lack of respect from those around you compared to if you were fit, if you were not overweight. If you compare two people, everything is the same. One dude walks in, he's overweight, and compared it to, let's say twins. They both walk into the room. They have the same demeanor, same everything. One's overweight, one's not. You kind of feel a certain way about the dude who's more fit. He just gets a little bit more respect because just seeing him, we know that he has discipline. We know that he's able to achieve a goal, that he takes care of himself. And so there's more reliance on that guy. It's just not judging or shaming people. Just like from a subconscious perspective, that's how humans evolved, is we size people up and we will have more respect for someone who can help the tribe stay alive, right? Savage, but makes sense to me. Mental clarity is a big one. So yeah, even if like you're not physically, maybe you're not just like into working out and into physical health and stuff like that, but you're going to suffer mentally as well. Suffer lacking mental clarity, so you can't perform in your career, and even get out of this average trap that you might be stuck in of being in this job that you don't like, being in debt, addicted to social media and porn, stuff like that. You're not going to have the mental capacity to get out of that unless you start to change physical things. And then obviously, like if you're overweight, that's unhealthy. You have a higher chance for serious chronic disease to develop. I don't care what anyone says that being obese or being overweight is healthy. Like you can be, there are varying degrees of health, but if you take there's studies on this. I don't need to talk about this. We're going to move on. But why I bring this up, why do we not want this? Why do we despise this if it were us? Because we were put on earth for far more than to just have poor health. Health is a birthright that is being taken from us on a daily basis just for the sake of profit. We're a number. By being overweight, we are just another number. A cog in the wheel to put more profit into big corporations' hands. It shows how easily manipulated we are. It shows we are more easily controlled, which in this day and age, I think it's really important to have our own personal sovereignty and be critical thinkers and not just go along with the average or the normal, right? Like if you're overweight, you're a little bit more controllable because you don't have that. You don't have the maybe personal control, maybe the discipline, motivation, whatever it is. And this is a quote that I really like from Socrates. You might have heard it. There's no bigger shame in the world than a man not being able to fulfill his physical potential. Just think about that. I'm big into sports and athletics, and I love seeing what my body can do, how I can push it, how I can grow, how I can get faster, stronger. For me as a man, it's important. Okay, moving on. Working in an unfulfilling job is kind of the next category that we're going to go into. And so, the associated pain that comes with that. And this is what I felt. I felt like a slave clocking in, taking orders from someone else just to earn a paycheck at lots of cost to my mental health, to my physical health, spiritual health, like everything. I was getting paid, but the cost that I was losing, the resources I was losing, in my mind, outweighed the paycheck. You might feel a lack of purpose in life. You feel like a cog in the wheel. It's dehumanizing. You're in a cubicle at a big corporation. They don't know your name. They just know your timesheet. And they know, are you billable? Are you making the company money? If you're not, who cares? You're gone. This might happen to you. Sacrificing important life moments to build someone else's dream you don't care about. That's what this, coming back to the intro episode, Life Unchained is having purpose, is doing things every single day, moving forward in something that you believe about. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't even have to be an intrapreneur, which is like an entrepreneur, is like a small business. Like say, if I had I have a coaching business, coaches within that would be an intrapreneur. Or like a content guy within a business, not just following the corporate world. Not saying you have to do that, be an entrepreneur, start your own business, have a brick and mortar. You can be an employee. You can be a normal 9-to-5. It just didn't work for me because it just didn't work. I couldn't find purpose in that. And maybe I could have found purpose in a different 9-to-5, which I did try, but I just wasn't able to find it. And then this path was kind of put in front of me and I was like, fuck yeah, this is it. So I went for it. So coming back to that, you can be an employee, work a 9-to-5 job in a cubicle, but every day you're doing something that matters, that you like doing, that you care about, that is connected with your values, that is pushing some narrative that you like forward. So I think that's really important to distinguish. But sometimes coming back to this average avatar that we've created that we're looking at, they're clocking in and they don't like it. So it has to change. That has to change. And that's one of my biggest missions is to spotlight this and let people know that they can change it. And through optimizing their health, the world just opens up to you. You have more energy, you have more mental clarity to think thoughts that maybe you didn't think before, have inspiration to take action and just completely change your life. So that's, again, why I'm so passionate on health, optimal health, because that's what I was able to do. I was really able to just get my health dialed in, and that unlocked everything else in my life that I've been able to create. Long hours away from your family, again, for what? For a paycheck to support them? Yeah, I know. And some people, it has to be like that, or they've allowed it to get like that. Yeah, there's always a choice. There's always a choice. High levels of stress, this is going to impact your health negatively. But the main reason behind this, why we despise this, we all have unique gifts. Life is precious. Well, you remember what Drake said? He said, YOLO, you only live once. So why would you spend any amount of time working a job you hated and never do anything about it? Like, I've been there, I've done that, but I did something about it because it was just ripping me apart. The point of life, in my opinion, is not to clock in and build someone else's dream you don't give a shit about. The point of life isn't to clock in and build someone else's dream you don't give a shit about. So if this is you, take this message as a kick in the ass. We've been groomed by society to become a cog in the wheel of the machine, killing creativity, and just to fall in line, do what we're told. I was having a conversation with my girlfriend the other day, and we were talking about education. And I brought up how it's like a Rockefeller education system. And the reason why he created it and what it trains people to do is just to be cogs in the wheel. Like, the bell rings, go here. The bell rings, go here. You have to ask to go to the bathroom. Like, there's order and rules and stuff like that. I get that. But it's subtle. This is a way that him being like one of the powers that be, to be able to control and groom people into this path of becoming an employee, working for these people to make them money. They're just numbers. They're just cogs in the wheel. They're not humans. And so this leads to suboptimal life, depression, chronic stress, poor health, lack of purpose, which we hate that. We don't want that. That's the complete opposite of living life unchained. So briefly, I want to touch on divorce. Like, I'm not the expert on relationships, but associated pain, failed, unhealthy relationship represents following the path laid out despite it not being the best for you. I think this is a massive trap people fall in. It's the path. Go to school, get a job, get married, have a 401k, yada, 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 and just follow the path. But a lot of people are seeing that path sucks, and it was promised they would be happy if they did this, but they're not happy. And that's why all of this stuff is starting to happen. Divorce rates are at an all-time high. There's the trauma of splitting up, broken up families. And really, this just like why we don't like this. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes you need to, you just get into a toxic relationship, you need to get out, and that's fine. But just from a general societal perspective, it represents the lack of fulfillment in relationships and how people are getting married just to check off the arbitrary boxes of life. Like, check the box. Go to school, box check. Get a job, box check. Get married, box check. We're not really connecting to us, to our authentic self. Is this really my person, my life partner? Or is it just convenient and I'm at the stage in my life that the people around me are getting married, and so you do it. In reality, it's not the best choice. And I think a lot of people are on the back end of that decision. So yeah, this is kind of more just a rant than like a cohesive podcast. Here are just some ideas that I wanted to share, things that I'm passionate about, things that are in direct conflict with Life Unchained that I want to help people change. Like, overweight is a big one. Clearly I can help with that. The lack of purpose of going to a job and living that unfulfilled life, massively important to me because that's where I came from. And so just to be clear, like, I'm not hating on the average person living this way because it is hard. I'm just at war with the status quo and it being okay for people to live this way, and almost encouraged by society and the powers that be, despite them not wanting it. That's the main thing. At war with people doing things against their will, just because society has said so. These are the rules, whatever. Because maybe I'm naive, but I really think that we all have a reason for being here. And it's not, like I said before, to just go to a job that we don't like, clock in, make a salary, and then just die. Like, there's got to be something in there. And that was what I was struggling with, what I was wrestling with. I was like, this can't be my life. And maybe, I'm privileged to say that. I know I am. But again, if you're listening to this podcast, you are also privileged. And therefore, if you're in this situation, you can do something about it. So that's what I got for you guys. Appreciate you for listening. I was ranting. Hopefully this resonates with you guys. Hopefully if you notice some things that, you've been experiencing, maybe you're overweight, maybe you're in that job, maybe you are spending 2 hours on social media. Like maybe put in this frame of like how all these things stack up and create that just like the average unhappy avatar, then maybe you can start to do something about it. And hopefully this inspired some people to change things, to look at things a different way, and to ultimately take action and to start getting closer to living life unchained. See y'all in the next one.